It's 1990. The FBI and NYPD are celebrating. Headlines declare victory. The Mafia is finished. New York is safe again. But that was just the story they sold to the public. Because crime didn't disappear, it transformed. The silk shirts faded. Tailored suits replaced them. Back alleys became boardrooms. Old social clubs turned into encrypted networks. And the era of the Sicilian Godfathers quietly ended. The old code of honor, loyalty, and silence wiped out. What followed was more elusive, more ruthless, and far harder to stop. The rise of street gangs, Bloods, Crips, and urban warfare. The 1990s weren't peaceful. They were a powder keg. The Mafia stepped back, but street gangs surged forward, and they were deadly. The Bloods, the Crips, two rival forces locked in a cycle of retaliation. Harlem, Brooklyn, the Bronx, no longer just neighborhoods. They became urban battlegrounds. Territory meant power. Drug corners became contested turf. And in the housing projects, gangs wrote the rules. Initiation wasn't a handshake. It was violence, sometimes theft, sometimes worse. Drive-bys, turf wars, teenagers recruited as soldiers, innocent lives lost in the crossfire. And then a new threat emerged, one that changed the game. MS-13, born in the war-torn streets of El Salvador, grown into one of America's most feared transnational gangs. They didn't just sell drugs. They managed the flow, controlled distribution, and spread fear with violent precision. Authorities cracked down hard. Task forces, surveillance, undercover units. But it wasn't enough. Because the problem wasn't just the gang. It was the system that allowed them to thrive. Public housing became their base. Prisons became their networking hubs. Schools became silent recruitment zones. In some areas, law enforcement struggled to keep up. And to this day, shadows remain. The Russian Mafia and Asian Triads, the silent kings of New York, the Italian Mafia faded from the spotlight. New players took the stage. Enter the Russian mob. Brighton Beach, Brooklyn. Once a haven for immigrants. Now a chessboard for former KGB operatives and criminal tacticians. Figures like Semyon Mogilovich, known to some as the black market billionaire, ran operations like multinational corporations. Money laundering, investment fraud, global manipulation. His name appeared on the FBI's most wanted list, but justice never came knocking. And then there were the Triads. From the back streets of Chinatown to international finance, they built hidden empires. Illegal gambling, human trafficking, a financial network hidden behind coded transactions. They were quiet, calculated, and absolutely unforgiving. Are they still in control today? Or have they adapted into something even harder to detect? The cartels, cocaine, crypto, and the digital underworld today's criminal landscape is no longer defined by streets. It's shaped by servers, screens, and financial systems. Cocaine from Colombia, meth from Mexico, profits flowing through digital currencies. Cartels don't just smuggle anymore. They diversify, invest, reinvest. They've built global empires by blending brutality with modern business strategies. And the new generation of kingpins, they don't wear ski masks. They wear suits, speak in tech jargon, and hide behind algorithms. Cryptocurrency has rewritten the playbook. Now billions can vanish in digital wallets, untraceable. Even financial hubs like Wall Street haven't escaped untouched. Some of the most complex financial crimes of the past decade show signs of deeper, darker connections. And the public, still largely unaware of who's really pulling the strings. The Mafia never left, it just evolved. Organized crime didn't die, it evolved. It adapted to a world of finance, technology, and global trade. Gone are the days of overt gang wars and flashy mobsters. Today's criminals blend in. The Panama Papers exposed how wealth and crime flowed hand in hand. Investigations uncovered how illicit fortunes were parked offshore, shielded from scrutiny. And many of those fortunes trace back not to street-level crime, but to the shadows of boardrooms and financial towers. The Mafia of old didn't disappear. It became something more invisible and far more powerful. Final words. The truth they don't want you to know. New York never lost its edge. It just learned to wear a better disguise. The players changed. The rules shifted. But the game, it's still being played. Behind the suits, behind the screens, behind the silence. Crime never dies. It just reinvents itself. And in New York, it never really left.